Hello, this is Mr. Taylor paying out yet another Level 9 lifeline. We're going to take a dinky, deadly quotation. We're going to lay on some high-level analysis in, of course, an easy-to-follow format. Then we'll throw out some model exam paragraphs, and all in all, we're going to ensure that you've got a well-crafted, easy win with which to dazzle an examiner. And here is that quotation, plucked from Act 3, when Eric has just realised that his mother's actions in denying Eva charity has led to the death of his unborn child. And you can imagine this is not something you can laugh off easily. There's an eruption of rage from Eric, and he bellows at his mother. He's almost threatening her. You don't understand anything. You never did. You never even tried. On stage, this is electrifying. I've seen one production, I think it was a Stephen Daldry one, where the Eric character, he really lunges at his mother. I mean, it's like watching a drunk start a bar fight. There's real aggression there. But why bother with this line? What is its significance? Well, in the spirit of channeling you towards the highest grades, we're going to pull out what they call a multiplicity of meanings here. More than one interpretation for that one little piddly line. It's going to be milk and honey for the examiner. Trust me. Well, first of all, this line kind of signifies that implosion of the family unit. This is 1-0 to Gould, who succeeded in shattering the civilised veneer, that civilised surface of the Berlins. Now this rift, this division runs along generational lines, doesn't it? You've got the old fighting the young here. Eric and Sheila facing off against Mr. and Mrs. Berlin. But don't forget, this division is along political lines too. You've got the young embracing socialism, but the parents firmly fixed with their capitalist views. Now, one interpretation for this line is that Eric is attacking his mother for having a lack of empathy or care or compassion towards the poor. You know, there's a lack of emotional understanding, you might say. No concern for the ravages of poverty that the proletariat suffer. And this attack on Mr. and Mrs. Berlin is, by extension, an attack on the class that they represent or symbolise, namely the ruling class or the bourgeoisie. But don't forget, if you can create two interpretations for one line, that is your fast track to the highest marks. And we can read that lack of understanding another way, because Mrs. Berlin doesn't understand her own role in the suffering the poor. She sees poverty as the poor's fault. You know, they're immoral, they're lazy, thieving toe rags, according to her. Now, Eric and Sheila, they've learned Gould's lesson, haven't they? They've reached the understanding that poverty is actually the fault of the bourgeoisie. It's the capitalist exploitation that's keeping the poor poor. You know, paying them out, not caring two toots about them. That is the true cause of poverty. And that is what Mrs. Berlin doesn't understand. Next step then is to take my feral ramblings, my rough, ugly duckling notes, and transform them into beautiful swans. You know, paragraphs divine enough to make an examiner start singing in the shower. Like this out and out beauty. If you've seen my videos before, you know how I work. This is a colour-coded model paragraph. The colour coding aids understanding. You've got the point in red, evidence in blue, and both of those interpretations in purple. The stuff in black, that's a contextual link, which I know is vital if you're doing the EdXL paper. Why are some words underlined in green? Well, these are words that I guess respond to the essay question, just so you can see that my response is task focused. And the stuff in red is the high level language, the high level lexis that's securing that formal academic style so beloved of the examiner. Let's clarify some of these words. Empathy and compassion just mean care, really. Comprehend, that's the second paragraph, that means to understand. Plight means the suffering, and low morals just means like the immoral behaviour. There'll be no hard sell for my fantastic book. If you can't work out why a collection of level 9 exam responses might just be a useful revision tool, you don't deserve it. Buy it or not, it's up to you. Here's another dazzler, tweaked it a little bit to reflect a new question, this time on the theme of social class. The context is different as well. If you don't like that context, don't use it. I guess all these contextual nuggets that I've thrown in, they can be used interchangeably. It's just to demonstrate that there's several contextual details that can go with our analysis of that line. And how they haven't given me a knighthood for services to education yet, I do not know. Another question, tweaked response, another paragraph of astounding insight and quality. Another contextual nugget. As I say, pick a mix with the context, use whichever one you fancy for that line of dialogue. And let's call time on this feast of intellectual elixir, this grouping of level 9 goodness. We now have a clear understanding of Mrs. Berlin's lack of understanding, and if we serve it up to win an effect in the exam, then we're all going to be shiny happy people holding pens. Best of luck in that exam.